Alright guys, so with the last PvP tier list for 2023 updated with the inclusion of Creme as well as Linzer, I think it's about time for us to update the PvE tier list, and this is going to be the last one for 2023. And we will be adding again Creme and Linzer in here. And also, I will be updating the Magic Candy tier list soon as well, so watch out for that. But just to let you guys know that this is going to be based on my experience as well as my opinion within the game, and this is going to be around mainly the PvE contents that are available inside of Cookie Run Kingdom as of right now. All right, so I have all the other kind of cookies listed out from situation all the way to A, B, C, and the quote-unquote stay away, and we'll go over them later. But let's go over the SS tier first, and these are going to be the cookies that are just going to mainly be the cookies that you want to work around with when you guys are playing the game, because they're just great all around and just great for the game. All right, so let's start off with the tanks, and that's going to be no other than Hollerberry as well as Crimson Coral. We got Pataya as well as Fettuccine. I think these are going to be the 4 best tanks, and if I had to rank them, it's going to be mainly going to be around something like this, in my opinion, right now, because Crimson Coral is just one of the best tanks inside of the game. Anyways, just damages us. The only downside, you have to use her by herself, and then we have Fettuccine, who is almost working very closely as Crimson Coral without all the buffs, but there is that immortality and the self-healing and stuff like that. So Fettuccine is honestly going to be a very good tank for you guys. Hollerberry, damage focus, overall a solid tank. I would say the better one out of all the other ones that we have, except compared to someone like Crimson Coral and Fettuccine, who are just kind of slightly better in my opinion, because Fettuccine is easier to get, Crimson Coral just has better buffs. And then we have Pataya, who is going to be a solid tank, lacking a little bit of team support, but just damage overall is going to be top notch. All right, and then we got the DPSs, who are going to be from a Golden Cheese, we got Moonlight, we got Sea Fairy, we got Black Pearl, of course, we got Frost Queen, now we got Tartatan as well as Black Raisin. So the legendaries and the ancient right over here, they're self-explanatory, right? Golden Cheese, great AoE damage and burst damage, also able to have a revive, which is really nice. So your Golden Cheese is a given. And then we got Moonlight, who's still able to do a really good wave clear inside of world exploration and PvE contents, like even Cookie Alliances and stuff like that. The wave clear with the weakness debuff is amazing. The sleep as well. And then we got Sea Fairy, Crystal Jam, and just in general one of the fastest stuns inside of the game. So if you guys do need any of the stuns and things like that, Sea Fairy is still good. Solid damage output is really good still. And then we got Black Pearl, who's also a very solid damage dealer. We also do have multiple hits coming out from her attack, and Crystal Jam, so very good right there. And then Frost Queen is also another cookie that kind of came up because of the fact that there's just better abilities coming out with the Crystal Jam. I mean, you know how much damage she does, and she has the constant damage, multiple ticks. Now the freeze is better, and her Crystal Gem just allows you to freeze enemies. Of course, there's the downside that if they are immune to freeze or frost, then there is that lacking, but still Frost Queen is a lot better now and very good. And then we have Tartatan, who is still one of the best, and then we got our Black Raisin with the Magic Candy, weakness debuff, crit damage is honestly really good. And then now we're gonna add one more in here, and that's gonna be no other than Creme Brulee. So Creme Brulee is super good inside of PvE. The main reason why he is so good is that compared to other cookies who debuffs enemies and things like that, he doesn't do any of that. He's just straight up raw damage. He's just he buffs himself, and then he just able to dish out so much damage without having to rely on debuffs. All right, so that's the reason why he's so good. His teams are just absolutely dominating almost every single content of the game, and I definitely recommend you guys to build Creme Brulee right now. And then the supports or the healers are going to be Snapdragon as well as Parfait and Creep Buff. I know a lot of people talked about Parfait being an S tier, and that should be an SS tier. Completely agree with you guys. The debuff resist plus the debuff immunity is absolutely amazing for a lot of the PVE content inside of the game, especially with a lot of debuffs coming out in the later part of world exploration and cookie alliances and things like that. So I think this is really good. I mean, Snapdragon, self-explanatory, and then Cream Puff, it's just, you just have a massive heal, massive extra attack, and crit damage as well. So that's going to be pretty much the SS tier. Not much changing here, guys, except I did bring down some cookies, brought up some cookies, and then added in Creme Brulee. But, PVE is going to be pretty solid here. And then now moving on to the S tier are going to be Capsaicin as well as Wallberry with burnt cheese as well as Space Donut and Milky Way. So I'm bringing up Milky Way here as well. I think a lot of you guys also talked about how Milky Way is, a relatively solid tank, and the shield as well as the defense down, and just the healing, which is not a lot, but as a tank inside of PVE sections of the game is not bad. So definitely these are very solid tanks in my opinion, and I would say out of them, if you can, probably these two are going to be the best option for you guys. If you guys have to choose right now, you can even get them from the Miler shop. So very, very good. And then we got the DPSs, Stardust as well as Sherbet. We are putting down Prune here as well as Mozzarella. We got Mango, Squid Ink, Captain Caviar, as well as Snow Sugar. So you guys can see that Stardust and Sherbet are here. The reason why I put them here is because Stardust, again, yes, Stardust does quite a lot of damage, but mainly revolves around crit. And then if there are enemies that are immune to Sign of the Star debuffs and stuff like that, it's just not as good as some other cookies that you guys will see in the SS tier right now. Again, revolving around the debuffs and the critting. And then Sherbet, same thing here. If you're immune to frost, and if you can't freeze the enemies, then his damage is there. He does multiple hits, 15 hits, but it's just not as strong. And then the rest of them, they have been up here for a while now, and they just do a great AoE damage or just burst damage in general. Snow Sugar is also really, really solid. I think some of you guys might even say Snow Sugar can be an SS. I would just say because there's some cookies that maybe, or enemies that are maybe immune to freeze and frost and stuff like that too. I will put Snow Sugar in the S tier. And then we have the the supports. We got Cotton Still, we got Pure Vanilla, I would say Rockstars here, and then I'm gonna put down actually Icicle Yeti in the S tier as well. And the reason why I'm doing that is because compared to Snapdragon inside of the World Exploration, if you use the Yeti, the healing is there, the buffs are there, but it's just not as good as Snapdragon in my opinion. And then also you just can't use Crimson Coral if you use Icicle Yeti compared to having Snapdragon and then Crimson Coral. Yes, you can use someone like Fettuccine, you can use someone like Hollowberry, but the Crimson Coral buff is just really, really good. All right, and then last one is gonna be Linzer. Linzer, in my opinion, is going to be either in the A tier, situational, S. So kind of in between these three right now for me personally. I mean, I heard that people are trying to test her out and trying to use her inside of the Dragon. She is being used and tested out inside of the Cookie Alliance, and things like that. But the main thing about her is that you actually absolutely need to have her at max 7 stacks in order to give the buffs and the debuffs to the enemies. All right, so buffs to your cookies, debuff to the enemy. And in order for that to happen, a lot of things need to happen, take place. And in my opinion, it's just like, if you're gonna use a slot for her, then it might just be better off using someone else. And you can use like Milky Way to put that debuff onto the enemies. You can use someone like just straight up, if you want to, Pomegranate, just to give that extra attack buff, or Cream Puff, who's just able to give you that crit damage buff, or even Rockstar, and just the other cookies that kind of fill in her role. She is good, she is solid in my opinion on paper, but it's just like it's very situational in my opinion right now. So kind of like where Eclair is with the support / debuffer role that we have gotten. But pretty much that's going to be it, guys. And then we have the situational, of course. These are going to be situational. For zapping, we got the cookies who are able to get rid of HP shield, healing reduction, for one-shotting, teams or waves. And then we got some purify, extra buffs, and then BTS, who's going to be the replacement. I don't think anyone's going to use BTS anymore. And then we got A, and then we got B tier, we got C tier, and then we got the stayaways, which are going to be the cookies that you probably just don't want to invest in as of right now. I think the only one that we're looking out for right now is going to be Moon Rabbit, with the possible magic candy that has been talked about. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. So that's gonna be the last PVE tier list of 2023, with the inclusion of Creme Brulee as well as Linzer. If you guys have anything that you guys want to share, let me know down in the comments below. But thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys found the video helpful, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.